Welcome everyone here to the Unified Premier League Week 3, Day 2. I am Camel. Alongside me is Ashcon, and today we have some exciting Valorant Best of 3 series between Regen and Halt the Kings. And our first map, it's going to be a spicy one. It's going to be Fracture to start us off.
Yeah. Um, Camel. So I'm really excited because it looks like these two teams are one step away from each other.
Hmm.
Depending on the way that Akuma Esports performs in their battle tonight, Regen might actually step up a place to hit third. Right now, their current placement is in fourth. They're 3-2, 6-4 in terms of the map score. Halt the Kings, their opponents, are 9-3. So there's a little bit of a dominance within the group by Halt the Kings. They're coming in hot. They have a history behind them, and so it's up to Regen to turn the tide if they really want to climb this leaderboard.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if Halt the Kings can keep that momentum going, or if Regen will try to stop that in its tracks. But Fracture, provides a lot of unpredictability, I'd say. Definitely a handful of picks as we see the map picks here on our screen. It's going to be Fracture and then Bind and Ascent to round things off. How do you think, this Regen pick going for Fracture, how do you think it's going to favor them? They are starting an attack. What do you think they're going to go for?
So it's very common to see a breach on Fracture
Mm.
alongside, of course, your traditional Jet. We might see them incorporate a Neon. That's something that the Tier 1 scene hasn't really picked up on yet, but over here in the UPL, we have seen some very interesting team compositions, and I'm hoping for it. But more than likely, they're definitely going to have to stick towards Chamber and Breach to have decent control of the map. Those trademarks are really great at watching flanks as well as allowing yourself to rotate off of a site for the defense. And then Breach is become a replacement of Killjoy, I want to say. Camel, her ult, the lockdown, was a great tool to enter into the B site, but people found out very quickly that Breach could not only A, destroy lockdown, but B, do that same job but better with his rolling thunder.
Yeah, that retake potential is so incredibly high. We'll see if that does come into play after that spike is planted, but we should be heading into the game momentarily, just waiting for all these players to get set, and we'll get right into agent select. But like you said, that breach, the chamber as well, the flanks, that is what makes Fracture so different. You have to go for some of these unorthodox plays in order to get the most out of the map. If you're five stacking towards a site, yeah, it might work once or twice, maybe on a pistol round, but you need to, play to your strengths, especially starting an attack. You're going to have all of those entryways to get onto one of these two sites.
And I also want to point out, Fractured is one of the only map with four total ultimate orbs around to be picked up, and so it's a matter of territory and denying these ultimate orbs to your opponent as well. That the team that gets to farm 2 to 3 ultimate orbs around is the team that's going to have the retake utility or the taking utility more often than not, and so they're going to be a huge threat because that's more than likely going to end up in 2 to 3 kills with every ultimate used, whether that be a raise ult, a showstopper to go in, a rolling thunder to stun everyone on the site, or for a retake, enabling post plant, or a hard defense with Viper's Pit. We're actually going to see all of those listed ultimates on the side of HTK.
Ooh, Brimstone from Bank. Like the interesting pick here. And Chikabob is hovering that neon. I'm just kind of waiting, to be honest. I just want to see if he locks this one in. Haven't seen too many, at least for me personally, but Neon provides so much, especially alongside the breach. You can imagine, the retake ability of those two agents going forward along with the raise as well. It's going to be a pretty interesting combo to see if Regen can deal with that once they make the round of defense. If they
Yeah,
do end up going with that.
Neon Stun is so interesting in the way that it bounces, almost like Yoru's Flash, although I
Mm.
want to say it goes a little bit farther. And then the
Oh,
fact that its stun radius is so wide, I want to say as big as
oh.
an Astra stun, it is a disgusting ability to be used. But it's just been put out of the way, and if
Mm.
my eyes don't deceive me, I think we're looking at a near mirror comp.
Oh, boring. Boring Ashcon. We wanted to see the neon. Would have been interesting to see, but they're going to be running with the chamber. Definitely makes sense here. Going to be matching up with Pika in that Tour de Force war. It's going to be so pivotal to see which one of those chambers has the confidence, has the shots today. But as we head into game one of this best of 3 series, so important you win this first game, get the momentum going in your favor is really Valorant. All a momentum-based game, especially considering how good these players are. They're going to hit their shots, but it's about teamwork, it's about coordination, it's about playing as a collective unit.
And speaking of collective units, that's what makes all of these agent picks matter the more. I mean, of course, Valorant in general, having specific agents means everyone's going to be doing different jobs, and how well you can coordinate to implement your utility into a site take or retake, determines your effectiveness overall, which is why we have to question that Brimstone pick. Of course, that orbital strike covers an entire site, but that doesn't necessarily justify it, because that stim beacon hasn't been an ability that's found use very often in competitive play.
Well, already, Fear Rosen takes an aggressive angle with 72 HP. He's got to be very careful. Serious posturing forward will be good for one. Takes down Spades. And the rest is history for Regen. Looking for much more Pika along with Serious two-man game against Fear Rosen. And just like that, Regen pick up 2 quick kills.
Already, we see the defense on the side of A rotating. They've realized it's likely a commit, but Modiga knows a little bit more that it can come from either way. They're vulnerable on this site, and so they're trying their best to find at least one pick. The flashpoint is going to come through, and although their enemy's blinded, no one's going to fall until Chickabob finishes their rotate and takes down Duracell. But now it is only a lone Viper. Halt the King's 9 iron has got 12 bullets left in this classic. And although they got the immortal gun buddy, they can't live forever.
Absolutely, especially considering where these members are watching. He's been spotted. Serious sweeps around the corner and picks up a 3K for his troubles. So Regen starting things off on a good note here, 1-0. And we'll see if they can use that first pistol round, buy up, and try to force the issue with this breach. You want to be playing aggressively, and if they can match that with the stim beacon, that could be a good boost of utility to get onto one of these sites. We'll see if they do end up going for that. For the time being, looks like they're just going to play 3 over towards A. We'll see if they move 1 over. So they're actually just going to leave Pika over on B, maybe look for a pick or 2, and then rotate back towards A.
I really like the 2 pickups on the Bulldog as well with Sirius and Bank. Not something you would see before, but now with the buffs to it, the reset time is a little bit faster, more accurate with the ADS, makes it a very valuable pick, and definitely something you want to take into round 3 as well when you get to the bonus, which Regen is expecting to do, of course, with the anti-eco buy. And with the Boombot coming through, they're going to find the information that no one is across the Viper's wall. They can feel safe passing forward and taking a little bit of extra territory, but no one wants to go out on sand quite yet. Halt the Kings with 3 stacks towards A. If they catch Regen on the bad side, they're going to get a free pick, and Chickabob does not just 1, but 2. Taking down the numbers of Regen, who were expected to win the round, but now, with dwindling numbers, it's not looking in their favor.
Oh, they don't know where this Viper is. Pika stands his ground, will be good for 1, takes down 9 iron, and Serious takes down the hot hand and Chickabob. So now Regen have cleared things up in a 3-3, making a 3v2 as Serious squares away. And rifles and some bullets, takes down Fear Rosen, and Halt the Kings. A great start, but a dampened finish here. Now a 3v2 situation. Modiga will push his way forward, trying to work around this utility. Pika in a great position, along with the rest of Regen. Hunkered down, looking for the shots. They found 1. Can they find 2? They do. Bank opens the door wide open. Modiga falls, and it'll be 2-0 for Regen, despite that great start for Halt the Kings.
A very great start as well. I mean, taking 3 Spectres out of the hands of Regen to force them to have to change up their economy here in the third round means that they are much more able to sweep round 3. Of course, when your teammates are on a bonus round, you're expecting now with your rifles to leverage that weapon advantage in your favor, but now knowing full well that they're going to be relegated to pistols, or that they'll win in the long term, Halt the Kings can be a little bit more confident in the way that they play. And you see this, the way that they have 3 stacked towards Arcade. They're going for an aggressive territorial take, but with no info coming through, they can now easily back away with extra information.
Pika, a bit of shots here. Serious able to spot the shoulder pad there of Fear Rose, and the Astra gone and dusted. Halt the Kings once again at a man disadvantage, as this Boombot will be used. Spades in a great position here, waiting for this rotation to come through. For the time being, Regen just playing things very slowly, encroaching on both of these sites at the same time and seeing what's going to stick first. It looks like they're going to rotate back over with Pika and group as a collective unit. We'll see what they end up doing. It looks like A will be the target. It's a lone Viper. They are bringing the chamber over, though.
9 iron, patient on the site, does have Phantom in hand. They're good to spray down A main, but should anyone burst out of sand, they're not going to have a good time. The trademark is there to slow down an initial push, but it won't be enough if the rest of the squad follow through. The paint shells are launched to try and zone to create territory. Flaming is going to find a pick onto the site, and 9 Iron posted up is good for 1, but it is double the numbers in favor of Regen. 4 agents to 2, and the spike is now ticking away, and the last 2 defenders, the side of Halt the Kings, have to retake, and they are separated. They may get a crossfire towards the deeper end of the site out of A main, but that's it.
Let's see if Bank conceals himself inside of the Poison Orb. The Molly will be used, and a bit of breach utility as well to enter onto the site. Modiga, a great UC utility there, going to be able to take down Bank, and now Modiga will push forward with the Phantom. Pika, though, is able to take down Spades. In a 1v3, the breach trying to do some work, will be good for 1. Trying to make his way around for 2, but the spike slowly dwindling away. Time is not on his side, and with 20 HP, it's almost a formality. Gonna be good for 3. And will walk away. The round goes to Regen. Decent effort there from Modiga. XCG player shows why he's the best here.
And great showing, 3 kills of course, but that round swinging in the favor of Regen is going to put a damper on the economy for Halt the Kings. They will quite literally be halted, and they won't have any further developments. They can spend this time to pick up ult orbs. Again, we were talking earlier about how there are 4 around the map, and it would be great to have Rolling Thunder and Intuitive Force in the same round. So for now, it's essentially going to be a round of recuperation while Regen gets to take the first pick, and if they really want to secure this round, they could employ a Viper's Pit or Brimstone's Orbital Strike. Since he's got the spike in hand, that'll definitely put him up 7 out of 7.
This is going to be an aggressive push through A, and once again, it's going to be a lone Viper on the site. They take out this one player. Could be bad for Halt the Kings. There's going to be the satchel used. 9 Iron concealing himself, shrouded in mystery. They don't know he's here quite yet. Now they will have an inkling of suspicion as the Sheriff shots fly, but the plant will be initiated here by Regen. It looks like they're just going to play for the Brim ulti. They have all the time in the world. They're going to stall out Pika. Now the notification will look for the TP away, and this is great time buying, time wasting by Regen here.
Hallway peek. Pika is going to not find 1, but 2. Fearozen and Spades fall, and it is now the lone 9 Iron who was on the site the entire time. They went unnoticed, but finally the facade has to fall, and Halt the Kings, they're down 4 rounds in a row. They did build up to the ultimates that we talked about. 9 Iron is 1 off from the Viper's Pit. They can deny territory. Rifles now in their hands. But with the number of ultimates that they have, look at Regen, they have the same amount plus 1. And with the way that Duracell and Flaming have been entering into the site and supporting everyone else, there's no way that they don't get up to their final abilities as well. I just think it's stacked against Halt the Kings. The momentum is not in their favor, and it just has to come down to exactly how they implement their ultimate utility. That's going to be the game changer for this round. If they don't pick it up here, it's not looking like a good place for them to be at all, and it's going to be a strong half for Regen.
Oh, saw Chica Bob there. Pop the tour de force, and that will look to be the equalizer for Halt the Kings. As now the minute and 17 left as this clock goes down. Regen with a 4-0 advantage. Looking to keep things going. Chica Bob doesn't know where they're going to be coming out of. Will wait it out. Will find 1 on top of Bank. None the wiser is serious. Waiting for this wall to dissipate. Looking for this chamber, but the TP is used, and Chica Bob gets out scot-free after finding 1 frag, but Regen still claiming the site so easily, so gracefully, and all the Kings, they just have to wait and play for this breach ultimate.
Duracell lone player on the site. Now that the spike is getting planted. Oh, delayed for a second now that the Rolling Thunder has gone out. I don't know if that's what Halt the Kings wanted. They're not in a great position. Regen is not obligated to protect any objective, just themselves. Sirius is able to deal the damage, and Duracell follows through, but not before Spades drops the snake with Viper's Pit falling alongside them. And now we're in a 1v1. Frenchman versus Frenchman, Camel. Gotta see who comes out on top.
Well, the spike wasn't planted. This is all in Halt the King's favor if they can just waste enough time. Pika's got to make a decision here. 10 seconds to go, and I just don't think he'll be able to get to the spike in time, and he might just walk right into the barrel here of Chica Bob, and he does. The 3K for the chamber is pure, and Regen finally lose their first round here. 4-1 for Halt the Kings.
And now with all of that ultimate utility off the table, we can stop talking about it. It's not going to come into play for a good while. 9 Iron, sure, Viper's Pit is still in hand. They got the Judge. Maybe they'll try something a little bit cheeky. But as for the rest of the players, Halt the Kings can feel a lot more comfortable knowing that they shouldn't be expecting anything in the nearby future. Regen, Rolling Thunder and Showstopper may come out, but those come at a huge risk. That's going to cause an instant rotation by the defense, and so it's going to be instant reinforcement. And there we go. We see that cheeky Viper's Pit alongside the wall. A is Halt the King's domain, and Chikabob finds the first frag with the operator.
He's been clean with it. Tour de Force now with the op itself. Halt the King's trying to use this operator as a sixth man here to line the defensive side flawlessly. Let's see if Regen have any sort of answer to this. Chikabob gonna be good for one, and Duracell powered down. He's taken down immediately 5-3 here for Regen, and now it's gonna be a bit of a difference here as opposed to those first couple of rounds. Now Regen is in this man disadvantage, and it's just gonna be so difficult to get onto site as A is gonna be blocked off with that Viper's Pit, and B, they're just waiting here for the push to come through.
Flaming that blast pack peak, make sure no one can find them, track them properly. Frozen goes for the shoulder swing, and it's not going to work out in their favor. They'll be chipped down. Bodega is going to find Flaming, who snuck their way into heaven, and now Bank is left in charge of smoking off all the angles. Pika has made their way to the back line, just not fast enough. Chikabob is always posted and ready. Good for 3. And so it doesn't matter whether or not that operator's taken out of their hands. They're already halfway or near halfway to the tour de force. And with the bank building up, Regen is now under pressure.
Under pressure. They have to find a way to deal with this operator on Chikabob. He's found numerous frags using this piece of weaponry, and it's going to be up to Regen to figure out a way to combine this utility and make some sort of stand on one of these sites. It looks like B will be the target once again for Regen. They have this Rolling Thunder to make it a guaranteed push. The question is, will Halt the Kings allow that, as an aggressive push through Arcade will now lead them down in the depths below. Underground, waiting for their moment to strike. Pika, the intuition, he hears it. He's going to be able to spot one, traded back as spades. He's finally taken down. The raise is gone. Flaming good for one. Duracell swoops his way in. Will find Bodega. And now a 4v2 for Regen. A plethora of ultimates as well, in a great position on this B site.
Spike planted.
The way that Duracell had that longer angle and uses it to get rid of Halt the King's breach. That's the way you break into the site. Chikabob does have that operator, and everyone on Regen knows it, so they're all tucked away, playing off angles to make sure that they're not caught in that line of sight. The numbers dwindle even by 1. It becomes a much more favorable round for Halt the Kings. They just want to win, pull through, increase the round number, and get Halt the King's economy to shatter little by little. So Chikabob, when they're finally destroyed, when they're finally dropping the operator, won't be able to buy it again. But this time around, since they're saving it, put it in their pocket for the next, it's still a concern for Regen. Spike guaranteed to explode now, Camel.
Oh, wow. He might be good for one here. He is. Duracell will drop down, but crucially, the operator's gone. So Chikabob will lose that piece of machinery there. We'll see if they have enough to go back to it, and they will. So it's not the worst of circumstances, but you'd like to keep that around for as long as possible. Regardless, Regen knew it. They went through split, and they were able to run down the chamber. And now we move ourselves into another situation. 2 ultimates apiece for both sides, but you have to favor in terms of, the value going towards Duracell's Rolling Thunder. That is the most crucial ultimate on this map, especially over towards A or B, as it really just clears the entire site and makes this operator completely useless.
That's right. Can't scope in when you're stunned, ladies and gentlemen, and Bank is leading the tide. 9 iron playing off of this information that comes out of the boom bot, but I think they understand. Halt the Kings knows that they're being toyed with, being played with around the map. And what they don't know is the approach is coming from satellite. So as soon as those A main players retreat, they could fall victim to an unseeming angle. Space pops their own. Showstopper tries to go deeper, but there is no connect.
Oh. That will be a whiff of wonders there for Halt the Kings, and now it's going to be Chikabob. Good for one. Speeds slowly working his way inside, but the timing is not on his side. 9 iron going to be good for one. Bank trades it back. Bodega still in a great position along with this operator. Chikabob has fought tooth and nail to defend every last bit of space that they have, and Halt the Kings will pick up their 3rd round. And Regen, none the wiser, that satellite push did not work out in their favor, and that meant they could just focus all their attention over towards main, and the rest was history.
Feels like Regen right now is kind of over committing to their pushes. I feel like
Yeah.
when they're caught out, they're caught, and that's it. That's the end of the push. That's all she wrote, and they move on to the next round. They don't rotate off. They don't really take their time. We saw it, I want to say, in the first round or two, and that was it. That's the end of story. Every single time that Halt the Kings has been able to intercept them, they've only done so through their own spawn. They haven't tried any. They haven't sent any utility to flank. They haven't used a Viper Orb to cover the trademarks and get behind. Nothing of that nature. And so it makes you wonder what is going on with the overaggression with Regen. And having called the pause, maybe they're discussing this alternate tactics. It would definitely be prudent of them to try to pull information of Chickabob's whereabouts first. They know full well that he's floating the operator around these sites and need to discover him, because that's really the drawback of choosing Breach over Sova. And of course, Sova isn't as popular on Fractured. There are not as many lineups, and many people feel that his Recon Bolt doesn't get enough value. So they need to find other ways to procure this information, and really they've only got one boombot to do it.
Absolutely. Now we'll see if after that timeout, Regen have a bit of an idea of what they need to do to halt the Kings. Clearly, that's really it's gonna come down to. We'll see if they can do it here on round number 9. It's going to be 9 iron, stunned and dazed for a moment, Flaming drifting over with this judge, but he's sniped out of the sky, and Chicabob is good for an immediate kill on the Regen duelist. And that's gonna snuff out this torch immediately. That timeout, well, changes plans a little bit.
Here's Duracell playing around with this angle alongside their own chamber. But jumping around the corner isn't to your favor. It's already a long enough teleport animation, and you can't use it until your feet are firmly planted on the floor. And Iron playing alongside the smoke, but they're going to be blasted right out of it. Rolling Thunder comes through. Now it's a matter of whether or not they get noticed, which it seems like everyone runs right on by, and Modiga is good for 2 in the meantime. And the numbers for Regen dwindle once again. A Breach is good for 3. Modiga gets rid of Sirius and finds a 4th onto Duracell, that counterpart. And it's basically near an ace, and they're showing off, bringing the round score ever closer, Camel.
Oh my word. Modiga there with the Breach gameplay, just destroying Regen in their tracks. As they try to work their way onto the site, they just can't deal with it. And they don't even spot 9 iron as well, so it turns pretty unfortunate for Regen, and after winning their first 4 rounds, hasn't looked decent. Only won 1 of the last 5. We'll see if they can try to pick things up here, because they had a decent idea of how to deal with Halt the Kings. It's just once that operator came into effect, it just all came crashing down.
And here's a problem with your Regen, right? You're on a light buy here. You're probably going to let the round score even up. And Chickabob's has the operator, even if by some magic trick you get it out of their hands in this round or the next, look, that tour de force is up. So they aren't going to get out of the grasp of that sniper rifle anytime soon. I think the rest of the half is on lockdown down the barrel, and Frozen is just keeping Halt the Kings ahead with the initial first flag, and you see Chikabob following through.
They deal with Chicabob, but at what cost? A 3v2 could turn sour. Spades gets 1, Modiga gets the other. And Sirius and Pika are none the wiser. 5-5, all even footing. After Regen started this one 4-0, Halt the Kings have soared their way back into this one. Now Chicabob with the operator once again, along with the tour de force, just as a safety net, just in case things go awry. And along with Fear Rosen's divide, they have so many ways to cut off Regen's path towards one of these sites.
And on the opposite end, Regen's got absolutely nothing in terms of ultimates. The closest one they've got is maybe the Viper's Pit on Sirius. And sure, they can use that to secure a post plant, but we've seen that happen before and wasn't really successful for them, and so they might be fearing using it in case that they actually encapsulate themselves in a rat trap. Bank actually going underpass, perhaps to get an off angle on the Heaven B player. There are no lurkers on the side of Regen. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Halt the Kings on the defending side has a raise that is already pushed out of Satellite, walking their way up. And Regen still, again, overcommitted. We talked about this. They're not rotating despite being walled off. They're just kind of twiddling their thumbs around the site.
It looks like they're just waiting for something to happen. But now Chicabob has set up shop with this operator, waiting, prowling for his moment to strike here. He has been a thorn in Regen's side. Spades around the corner will be good for 1. as he bludgeons the Viper and serious drops immediately, instantaneously. Regen might be forced to run for the hills, but we know how they like to play this one. They do not want to rotate. They are committed towards this B site. The pull is massive. It's going to find Shikabab. 1 kill. Fear Rosen grabs 2. And they are absolutely whitewashed here. It's going to be Flaming good for 1. Can he find multiple frags here on this race? He cannot. Fear Rosen with the pull and able to find 3 at the end of the day and pick up the op for good measure. What a defensive stronghold Halt the Kings are putting on right now.
Spades, I want to talk about duelists and KDAs and all of that jazz. Everyone expects the duelist to perform, but at the end of the day, it comes with making space. That's the true #1 goal, and Spades did that perfectly. We saw them push out a satellite. They get that first frag. They open everything up, and it's free information on top of it because, you know, Halt the Kings, after using the Cosmic Divider, probably thinking to themselves, well, Regen probably has to rotate. Knowing now that they didn't, Spades enabled Regen to just confidently hold their spots. And so that's a beautiful 11th round, and here in the 12th, 9-iron is starting with the first pick, and Chikabob follows up on a second.
Yep, and he's feeling it. He's getting hot here, looking for those aggressive plays with that tour de force, understanding the limits of this agent here is now. Regen are going to be taking the ride here. A slow walk of shame back over towards the spike, as it will be Halt the Kings in prime position as Bank will work his way forward. Gonna be good for 1, takes down the breach. It's a good answer for Regen, but still, the problem persists as Regen will have to walk right into the barrel of 9-iron along with the rest of the team. Shikabab pacing himself, looking for the shots. He finds 1, finds 2! And it's gonna be big for Halt the Kings. And Shikabab, he wants more. He's feeling it. Gonna have to work through the smoke, and it's gonna be a 1 lone brimstone against the world. 4 hungry hyenas. Halt the Kings looking for it. Chikabob goes for the quickscope, can't find it. Bank still looking for the shots, but 32 HP. These satchels looking to draw out the brimstone. Bank in a 1v2 situation. He has no idea. Smoke will dissipate. 9-iron brings it out, takes down the brimstone, and Regen 7-5 at the end of the first half, and Halt the Kings will move themselves over to attack where they might be, considered stronger now with the breach in their arsenal.
Now, this is where I feel like Regen, having picked this map and coming in with full confidence might be dwindling. And this is the question of whether or not the Brimstone is really worth choosing over Astra, right? Not having a Gravity Well, not having a Nova Pulse, not having 5 possible Nebulas alongside a Cosmic Divide to really pause any and all pushes by the attacking side. That's a lot of utility to lose out on for a Molotov and the Orbital Strike. Of course, those 3 smokes are some of the longest and the best in the game, but that's, again, we talked about it. Those stim beacons are a quarter of your kit gone and essentially unused, and this is not one of those maps where there are breakable surfaces. You're not going to find anything worthwhile on Fracture in that sense.
Nope. All the Kings doing anything but. They're in your spawn. Bank, you have no idea, and Spades will be good for 1. And that could be how this round persists. There's the flash from Modega. It's going to be a pincer mover here. Sirius, crucially, is good for 1 imperative. He finds multiple kills. 9-iron is going to have to worry about a flank, and Pika from the back will be good for 1. Fear Rosen now rampaging forward along with Spades will find multiple kills and leave the spike right in front of Flaming's waiting arms. There's the pull through. Flaming in a bit of trouble here. Jumping, hopping, skipping around. Pika will be good for 1. Here comes Chikabob in a 1v2 situation. Can't find the shots, but Flaming does. And Regen, despite those early pushes from Halt the Kings, they find that flank and find that round win.
What a way to pull out the round, especially when Halt the Kings were in defensive spawn so early, Camel. How did they do that? That was crazy.
Just better. Built different, and that's what we need to see from Flaming with those double satchels, making the aggressive pushes. Now, probably this time around, with the gun disadvantage, Regen will have a better time in that department defending some of these pushes. But, once Halt the Kings can start to buy, once the economy starts working in their favor and they get those stars down, we'll see if Regen can still deal with that. But for the time being, Regen are going to have to use every advantage they can, and Fear Rosen be in a bit of trouble. There's the breach utility along with the raise, boombot, everything in the kitchen sink being used, dealing with Fear Rosen. The shots finally fall, and Bank will be good for 2. A monsoon of offensive aggression from Regen as they make their way over towards Spades, a sitting duck and a flawless for Flaming as he finishes off his counterpart in Spades. And it will be 7-7 after 14.
So what I'm looking at is Regen being essentially a master of anti-eco rounds. In bonus rounds as well, we saw in the first half that they took the buy round against Halt the Kings. If they can do it again, they'll be in a much better position. Will pull ahead and send Halt the Kings economy into the gutter. But that's a very, very big if. They did it once. It's already uncharacteristic of a traditional Valorant match. For them to do it again, that would be something truly unprecedented. Now we got to go ahead and see how they also play the Ultimate Orbs, Camel.
But a breach utility traded back. Now Spades. Play this one patient. Use the boombot, but Flaming just poshed himself in a very aggressive position. 9-iron, unfazed and unwavered. Will be good for one before traded back by Sirius. Leaving Kings at a 4-4. And let's see if Halt the Kings want to go for a quick rotation. That Astra's in a great position. Fear Rosen lying in wait. Do they check this corner? He spots the barrel. Will be good for one. But escalating up top is going to be Pika. He takes down the Astra and leaves things at a 3-3.
And the instant retreat. I love the discipline out of Pika to pick up the rifle and know that they have to back off right away. If they were to get traded, it opens up the round to Halt the Kings. Essentially guarantees it for them. And even better, not just retreating onto site, but moving into the underpass so they can hold both site entryways. But Halt the Kings, they have a completely different idea. They've maneuvered all the way to satellite. They're trying to catch some radio waves and intercept some information as to the positions of the rest of Regen. And I think Duracell might have an inkling of what's going on here.
30 seconds. That's going to be the go signal. Duracell spots out Spades up top. Will be good for one, trying to work his way against Chikabob and Sirius. Now in a 1v1 with Modega. The Cavalry will be approaching Sirius in a crucial 1v1. He's got to just buy time as the clock slowly dwindling down. Here comes Pika for the backup. And he will be good for one. Stalling enough as Sirius leaves things at 8-7. And for Halt the Kings, they tried for a quick rotation, tried using that zipline to their advantage, but they walked over, tried to use Dish as their way in. Was not the case, and they'll go back to an economy deficit. Just going to go for the Sheriffs here, and for Regen, if they can start to win these rounds, continuously get up to 5-6, it could just be so difficult for Halt the Kings to work their way back into this game.
I mean, what it really comes down to is Regen is just playing textbook Valorant every time they pull ahead. I mean, Pika backing away, Sirius playing your life, literally, and just buying all the time in the world for their teammate to rotate around. Those decisions that each individual player is making is why Regen is able to eke out these extra rounds and pull themselves ahead, even where we felt like they shouldn't.
And Chikabob has worked his way incredibly far forward through tunnel, trying to make his way onto the B site. Unnoticed, but looks like that chamber bot spot. Same with Halt the King spotting Sirius, who takes a bit of chip damage, but will be okay for the time being. Regen have an inkling of suspicion. It could be an A-sided push as they bring over Bank as well to deal with the pressure. Halt the Kings, no ultimates available. Duracell lying in wait. Chikabob will be good for one. Traded back as Sirius, who finds 2 kills on a site. And we'll leave this push in shambles. There will be a ruckus now moving over towards B as we see the chamber still encroaching, slowly teetering over towards the site, trying to find some kills here, but it's so difficult with the HP he's got as well.
And sitting in heaven is Flaming with the judge. Even if Halt the Kings get onto the site, all Flaming has to do is peek right on out. Despite having 45 HP, only Bank is still going to fall to the hands of Chikabob. And all of a sudden the tides have turned. Regen with one lone Sirius, but both Kings low.
One enemy remaining.
Sirius finding one TP away from Chikabob. And it's going to be a one-on-one. Allow me to have this dance, Sirius says, but Chikabob has his number. And he's got the 3K as well to boot. 8-8 for Halt the Kings. Chikabob will once again have his old reliable here in Tour de Force available just in case he wants to take over this game, and they look to keep that economy flowing, and along with the momentum all the Kings have now acquired, picking up that round win. But Pika, let's see if he opts in for the op himself. It looks like he will, and now on the defensive side, Regen have that option and that avenue to go for the op themselves.
Yeah, it's was it classique révolution français or something like that. But
oh my!
The Frenchman coming out on top. Oh, but the swing stunned by an Astra. Oh, not quite, but no one's going to move into that line of sight. I think they're anticipating a taste of their own medicine with that initial operator. And Spades with the one-way does not want to push through quite yet. They are going to use the paint shells to ensure that the entryway is at least a little bit secure. But a Viper's Pit sent out immediately puts a damper on the plans of Halt the Kings, and all the way in the back, Bank finds a player in bench.
They're committed. Spades skips his way over. The barrel spotted and Sirius falls. Crucially, the Viper's Pit is now gone. There will be the Breach ultimate, or the Brimstone ultimate, excuse me, used here by Regen, trying to force off and sandwich Halt the Kings in front of the site. The Viper's Pit, though, doing a great job now for Halt the Kings at alleviating some of the pressure. Spike will go down for Fear Rosen, and now leaves things on a 4v4. A bit of chip damage there into Spades. He's got to be so careful, so cautious moving forward as Duracell with no fault line for 3 seconds. That might be what Regen is waiting on, as there's the combat step. Here is everything being used by Regen. This is their moment to strike. Spades will be good for 1 9-iron a second. Leaves things at a 2v2. Modiga spots the plunging flaming. Pika drops down. Modiga's got his number, and he's got the round win. An earthquake there on top of A. It does not matter. Halt the Kings pick up their 9th round, and they're 2 in a row.
Feels like the ultimate implementation in that last round really hurt Regen. The Viper's Pit, having no one else alongside Sirius, just dampened the effectiveness of it. And the fact that, I mean, Spades just felt completely enabled to move right on through is not a situation any Raze should ever really be in when all 5 defenders are alive. And on top of it all, I think that orbital strike from Bank came a little bit too early. Spike was not committed down, and so no one was ready for it. Unfortunate waste, but we move on already. Fear Rosen keeping the tempo going, Camel.
Just great fault line. Sets it up perfectly. And now it'll be Halt the Kings getting a free pass here. Free admission towards this site. Bank, though, will trade things back, at least for the time being, leaving it at a 4v3. Very winnable situation for Regen as they loop around the sheriffs in hand, but it's going to be a lot of noise being made, and Modiga and 9-iron are none the wiser. Not quite, as here comes the shots, and they walk right into the crossfire. Pika will be good for 1. Now leaves things at a 1v3, but the wall is up, the stars are down, and it's so difficult for Pika to force his way inside of the site.
To the forest being locked in on, and a bullet chambered and spent, but now it's not going to be used at all for the time being. Viper's Pit really narrowing the space that Pika has to use. And although they're holding on for any chance to get a post-plant frag, they are going to find one, but Modiga is quick on the trade. Nothing faster than a split-second swing.
They will win their 3rd round in a row for Halt the Kings, who now once again are in the situation where they have the showstopper, have this Rolling Thunder. This double ult combo could be something they look for, but Spades, like you said, has done a great job at clearing space, being that first one to get onto these sites, usually with that double satchel. Yeah, he's going to die, but the space he creates, like you have been mentioning, has been so crucial, so imperative for Halt the Kings to get towards these sites with the success that they're doing it at.
Yeah, this is what 100 Thieves needed on their Breeze game. Against the guard. They needed a guy like Spades. Someone to go. And anyway, this jokes aside, Halt the Kings, they're taking their time. And they're being stalled out. Spades, once again, are right up against the entryway, and you know they're going to come in soon, but everyone else taking their time because Chickabob wanted to go for a flank, but that's not happening. What's most interesting is Pika not getting the frag with that operator, but Pika getting the frag with that operator and having 2 people right next to them. Now here's the showstopper. It's not going to stop anyone. Bank is on top. A firm stone on the B site.
Excruciating push there for Halt the Kings. Now leaves it at a 2v4, but here's the pushback for Fear Rosen. Committed to this engagement now in a 2v3, but Duracell still has this Rolling Thunder available. If he can prime this one, it'll be all said and done. Divide is available for Halt the Kings, but they don't have the spike, and that's the problem here. Regen knows that Pika takes down the hot hand and Fear Rosen. And it will be Modiga slowly dwindling away in the time department as he's now going to work through mid. It's all going to be timing here. He will be spotted by 1. Duracell takes the other side, takes down the breach, and leaves things at a 10-9. Regen will not go quietly. And what an even contest for our first game of the night.
Back and forth, edge of our seat. It's only map 1 in a best of 3 series. And looking forward, I mean, just for a quick second there, we're going to get an even better map by, well, better subjectively, you know, anecdotally. Yeah, I don't mean to toss any weird opinions out there. I know Fracture's a really popular map and all. but looking forward into Bind as well. I mean, we're in for a ride between these two teams.
Absolutely. Fracture is the best map. You're gonna upset Hyper with that statement. I don't know if that was a good idea.
Oh, producer just took me off the mic. They told me my opinion was wrong. Apologies for that, chat.
Let's see if Halt the Kings can silence
False.
some of this Regen defense. It looks like Sirius will expect a bit of noise here as the Boombot will be used once again over towards B. And Halt the Kings, bit of a different tempo, slowly now looking towards one of these sites. It's going to be a 5-man setup towards B as two have moved through Arcade and Bank. Crucially, we'll have to find one. It's all going to be a timing game. We'll spot the zipline player. Fear Rosen looking for a duel, and he won't win it out. The joust is won by Bank, who's trying to scurry away. Modiga, good for one. Spots Sirius' shoulder blade. Will be able to fight the head. And he's got it. Sirius drops. Leaves things in a 3v3 contest, but once again, Regen have this Rolling Thunder to turn to.
Here comes the Rolling Thunder, finally set off. Both operators finding their own pick. Chamber versus Chamber once again when it comes to the big stick, but Duracell is ready to pop off with the rifle in hand. The Phantom is like a thief in the night. The defuse is coming out now. It's already halfway. Chickabob knows that they have to get rid of Duracell first. And the defuse is actually clutched away from the hands of Regen, and Halt the Kings pick up the round.
Chica God.
Oh, the instant pause.
The instant timeout, that was it. He had no time for that. It was coming down to the wire. Chickabob unfazed, knew the defuse was happening, and he takes his shot there. What an insane play by Chickabob on the chamber. Duelist chamber, 25, 15, and 4. His back is killing him. I mean, get this man a chiropractor ASAP. Because clearly right now, taking matters into his own hands in that 1v2, misses the first stop shot. He does not care. TP's away, reorients himself, and is able to find that 2v1 outplay. And, you know, the timeout comes in, and for Regen, it's just going to be a huge blow to the confidence.
Yeah, huge mental blow, especially when it came down to, like, literally split-second decision-making. Duracell just had to stay behind the box a little bit longer, dodge around instead of full swinging out of the box. That was really the half-second difference that would have saved the round for Regen, especially on their map pick. They needed it because their backs are against the wall here with no money. They've got one rifle, Sirius with a hero buy. Oh, excuse me. Let me not caster's curse myself. We're seeing a little bit of a half buy. Let me correct myself. Orbital Strike and Showstopper are in the mix for them. They can pull it through, but it's not the position you want to be in, knowing full well now there's an attack-sided operator. You're not enabled to take those same long-angled defensive swings that you were taking before if you were Regen.
No flaming. With this Showstopper here. Invisible Showstopper. So broken it's invisible.
They're playing a clarinet, actually. That's what it looks like.
Played a musical instrument here, and he would like to play a different tune to this game. Spades around the corner, shifting his way inside his Fear Rosen to trade things back and leave it at a 4v3. And for Regen, backs are against the wall once again in a situation where they're forced to push onto the site. The Onus sits in the defensive half of Regen. We're going to look to force as a collective unit here, but Bodega, along with the rest of Halt the Kings, lying in wait, primed for the opportunity. Wrenching is going to be Chickabob now looking for one. Takes down Duracell, will look for two. Modiga's got it, and he'll find a deuce. And it's a pair of kills now, leaving it at 12-9 in favor of Halt the Kings. Who have found, after that first round win, after 3 in a row from Regen, you know, yeah, they lost that one round, but they haven't looked back in terms of the confidence, in terms of the aggression on this attacking side.
That works.
Something I wanted to comment on real quick. Camel, we didn't see the perspective of Spades that round, but I think for a quick glance, we saw him walk up on two unsuspecting defenders in Heaven B's. Did my eyes deceive me, or is he just the greatest thief I've ever seen?
No, you did. Your eyes do not deceive you.
Oh my god. Actually, that guy's gonna be... Spades is gonna be cracked on Yoru when he gets that rework on Tuesday. Greater shot versus the Marshal. It looks like the Marshal came out on top for that exchange. Still 49 health left, however, on Chickabob. Signature operator. And one Viper shoots the snake bite, but the other one falls. The numbers are dwindling. Camel.
We're back in a 4v3. I mean, this is what Regen have put themselves in and time out, and it has not worked at all. As now they leave themselves in a position where they're really, not going to be able to get back on the site. Flaming has no satchels. He bounces his way over. Fear Rosen will go for the plant and then plant it on top of B. Pika slowly working his way through, but it's just so difficult. The concealment. Sirius, though, takes down the operator. That's going to be huge dividends later on into this round as Flaming sweeps around the corner. Here comes Modiga. Can't find the shot. Sirius, a great flick. Leaving it at a 1v2 exchange for Fear Rosen. He's got the pull to stop the first defuse. He'll leave it. He'll be able to spot Flaming. He'll be good for one. Leaving it is now Pika! But Fear Rosen, a shot so crispy the Colonel would be honored. Praised as Halt the Kings. Leave it at a 13-9. Oh my word. Ashcon back and forth the whole way through, but in the end, just insane.
I mean, Halt the Kings. This map was not their pick, but they sure made it look like it, Camel. They went back and forth. They adapted much faster than Regen was expecting, and despite the individual plays, the intelligence that the players of Regen showed on their clutch 1vx plays, I think the Kings just really brought it back, and they reigned supreme. Camel, I think with that, we're going to actually have to send over to the second map Bind after a short break.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Unified Premier League Week 3, Day 2, Game 2 here of Halt the Kings versus Regen. We just saw Halt the Kings in a bit of a close game. Very back and forth towards the end of that one, was 13-9 in favor of Halt the Kings. Now we move over to Bind, and I think, definitely something that we talked about after that game and now leading into this one is the fact that that was Regen's map pick. So how do you think, Ashcon, they rebound and refocus now on Bind, even though this isn't their map choice?
Yeah, so Regen, for them to rebound, they have to have a very tight agent comp, something super standard. We're talking about Astra, Viper, Raze on top of maybe a double initiator. They need to flex something really close to home or bring out something absolutely crazy to usurp the Kings right now because they're on a roll. And not only that, because the Kings get to start an attack, they get to start the battle. They get to pick and choose where they navigate on bind. They get to find the early frags if they execute properly, and that could very easily lead to a damaged mental. It's going to be difficult for Regen, but they need to anchor down both mentally and in terms of game mechanics if they're going to find any semblance of victory to send us to map 3.
Absolutely. Well, seems like both teams are ready to go. And we're going to be going into agent select here on bind between Halt the Kings and Regen. See which team has what it takes. Will Halt the Kings close things out quickly in a 2-0 format, or will Regen bring us to Ascent in game number 3? Time will tell as we see the compositions already flaming. We'll swap over to that Jet. We see now Duracell bringing up the Sky, and there it is. That's the switch off of Brimstone over to the Astra. You mentioned it. You harped on how, you're losing out on those Nebulas, on those pull-ins, all that utility that they aren't afforded with that Brimstone. Now they're going to have it here.
And I'm sure they'll be glad to. Pika also adopting a Sova, which you almost never see on Fracture, seeing those come out. And the lineups should be happening. It really, something we've seen a diminishment of over the course of Valorant. All tiers of competitive play, Camel, are shock dart lineups for the post play. I want to say those haven't been coming out recently. I mean, in combination with Astras, they may find their niche appearances every once in a while, but it's just not all the time. And now I'm at a loss for words looking at Chikabob.
Oh.
They're playing with my heart.
I mean, we just have to wait. We just don't know at this point. Maybe the chamber even comes out for Chikabob. It's honestly just a matter of time. We'll see. The clock's loaded. Okay, so he switches over to the Jet. And that actually entices me, honestly, because what we saw with him on the chamber, I mean, who knows now what he's able to do now with a repositioning tool? It just adds into the more aggressive tendencies of Chikabob.
They definitely were feeling themselves in the last map, and they had a talk with Spaze, and they said, listen, Spaze, I know you're on that Raze. I know you got the duelist right now, but listen, man, I'm feeling myself. I got to be on the Jet. And they swap roles, or from support to duelist, and now Spades is the one with the Sky who still has duelist potential. Those flashes can go unguided to be used for pop around corners. Not as much as before. Her flash timer has been changed a little bit. I think her weapon pullout is a bit longer, but there's still that potential there, even for Spades to come back through and show us their stuff, because we know they were just so good with making space.
Well, we'll see if Halt the Kings, now starting on the attacking side, can create the tempo that they need to make this one a 2-0 and bring their overall score to 5-1 and really set the tone for the rest of the standings and the rest of everyone here at the Unified Premier League. They are not to be toyed with, as they will start off here with a bit of a showers push. Chikabob advancing forward, finding the first shot. Pika trades it back in a 1v1 with Spades, and Pika's shots are pure, precise, and it will be now a rotation for Halt the Kings, moving over towards B.
Immediate turnaround. They see their entry onto the A showers get taken out, and the Kings say it's going to be a tactical retreat from us, folks. And as they head over to B site, it's a 3 versus 2. They can feel at least confident with their numbers, but they can't be playing trades, right? You do the quick math, that'll end up in a 1 versus 2 against them in the post-plant scenario. They're going to have to use what initiator utility they have left in their favor, and it's just a lone Sova. You see the Owl Drone coming through, but might not spot Sirius fast enough for it to be useful. In fact, it won't spot anyone at all before Duracell cleans up the numbers, and it is a lone 9 iron. 12 bullets in the Classic once again. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Immortal Gun Buddy, but they are not unkillable.
Leave things at a 4-1 right into Sirius's waiting arms, and it's only a matter of time here.
30 seconds
He'll take
left.
a couple pop shots, but with 30 seconds to go, the spike is in his inventory. Just 2 Regen members lying in wait, trying to source out an opportunity to take down 9 iron. There's going to be the blinding light. There's going to be the shots for Sirius. Sensational play there out of the 2-man game for Regen, leaving it at a 1-0. They start off on the right foot, getting that first round.
Anti-eco comes through. Your local standard. Flamin was playing with the idea of picking up the Marshall, and it's a great indicator of whether or not they're going to be hopping, and both teams did bring it out on the last map on Fracture, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it here on Bind, but I want to say the uses of the operator are significantly less, especially now, so with Astra coming to the table and Viper, double controller really just gets in the way for a map like Bind.
Yeah, absolutely. Leaving things here
Scanning ahead.
over towards a scattered push. My feed is posted. I don't know about you.
Same. No,
Okay. So we're both in
yeah,
the same
yeah,
boat.
we're both. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, you want to do audio only? Audio only?
Oh.
Well, the feed broke, guys. It's hey, it happens. It's okay. You know, we're all good. Turns out the feed did. Oh, we're good.
Oh,
we're not good.
We're good. No, we're not. No.
Hold on.
Oh,
we're good. We're good. We're here. We're back.
There we go.
It's gonna be Chikabab. Dash gonna stay serious. Playing the patient game will be good for one. Trying to work his way around two. And he pulls out the gun there to try to reload. Can't find it. The reload costs him huge. Regen. A bit of aggression back on towards the side. Flaming will recuperate, pick up a Spectre here and try to work his way forward. Flaming Fanatic here, moving his way inside. Frantic now inside, trying to go for one more 9-iron. Picks up 2 at the end of the day. And it's controlled chaos working the way of Regen as Bank will get the defuse. And after all that, leaves things at a 2-0. And I gotta be honest, I have no idea how we got there, but we did.
I mean, that was all planned. I mean, we really just went out from... It's a new feature that we got going on Camel, where we just cut straight to the action. Actually, these are pre-recorded matches, so... yeah, so we really just made it easy for you guys in the audience to find everything popping off. And so, Halt the Kings, again, on the back burner, but don't you worry, you know, they're going to have the Vandals that they want. Light shields on Spades and Frozen. You all know the drill when it comes to the traditional Valorant 3-round rule. But what I really want to see is what Regen can do now with they still got a Marshall in their hand, a Spectre too. If they can line up, Bind is one of those maps where there's enough close quarters angles that you could pick up that third round, even if you're on 1 or 2 anti-eco guns.
Duracell will look for the pop flash. Pull back away to safety. Leading these at a 5v5, Chikabab will use this blinding light. Slowly work his way forward, right into Duracell's waiting arms. Good trade though for Spades. Picking up Pika, but that's still a gun loss for Halt the Kings, and this could be the go signal for Regen. Try and get more done here through C-Long, but looks like for the time being, both teams will back away as Fearozen has worked his way on top of A, and it's going to be sanitized and clear. They just got to bring the spike over and look for the plant.
It's going to go the whole 9 yards, 9-iron. Getting that spike over. Modiga, they've got 1 star left to play with, and they're going to go ahead and just whip it out onto Heaven. Make sure that no one's got that angle. They know the Marshall is in somebody's hand. And Sirius, is this a lineup? Oh my god, they're taking their sweet time. They have a lineup for anti-plant. That makes me feel disgusted, Campbell.
Lineup Larry coming out here for Regen, the 5th player that died. But here we go, Fearozen in front of you all trying to work through Bank, but Bank bulldozes his way inside. Will be good for 1 on Fearozen. 9-iron is flashed for days, and Duracell hits it into overdrive. He'll be good for 1. Spades in a great position. Playing the patient game might bite him here. It's going to be Spades good for 3. At the end of the day, Modiga does the rest. In the 2-man game of Spades and Modiga, quiet in those first 2 rounds. They turn it up on round 3 in a big way and give Halt the Kings their 1st round win.
Spades coming out and bringing themselves right up close to the Seekers, and you know how it is. B main's orb is right in front of the attackers. That's going to be free info for this round if they don't pass it over to Chikabab for the knives, which, seeing as they have just enough credits, I don't see why they would. Chikabab has that Phantom. They're armed and ready. But you got to look at Flaming, Camel. You got to see that operator in their hand, and if that dart doesn't clear fast enough, then it's going to be a free pick. It goes through alongside a flash, but it's just not long enough. The line of sight is still there, and Chikabab falls. That is no entry for Halt the Kings. They can't make any space now.
Taking that back, recovering it.
Oh, this is going to be big. Huge timing here for Modiga. Will be good for 1. Can't find 2. It's a decent trade, leaving it a 4v3 for Regen. And still with the daggers available. A couple of safety valves they can throw down for Regen if they think things are starting to go south. Halt the Kings will use this Owl drone to work through on top of A. It's been their bread and butter. The only round they have won was towards this A site, but you see Flaming in a great position through long, trying to use this operator to his advantage. The timing game with Pika. He'll be able to spot one, take down 9 Iron, looking for much more, but he will be spotted and taken down, leaving that a 2v2 as Flaming was taken down through actually Heaven, so the op is going to be gone for the time being.
This near duo fighting it out. Oh, that Trailblazer is going to be taken out. One in trade for the other. Knowing that there's someone posted up triple box is not enough information to get Fear Rosen's crosshair off of your head. And Duracell pants are down. And that is a Sky on Sky kill. And the round score is evened up.
Oh. 2-2 for Halt the Kings. They roar back and win those previous 2 rounds after going down on that pistol. And second round there for Regen. So, Halt the Kings now leave this a bit of an advantage for them. It will be the save for Regen. Not really much they can do here in terms of economy. Bit of a Walmart buy here, so now it'll be Halt the Kings pushing forward through long, and this time no operator to deal with, and they know that.
The flash of the Bladestorm follow through. Instead, the Sheriff will find a frag, but Modiga and Ferozen, they want to keep Halt the Kings on top, and they'll do exactly that. Regen trying to reinforce the B side with numbers, use that beautiful teleport, but it's another one in response, and the entirety of Halt the Kings move to A, leaving Pika alone to try and deal with them.
Oh, they're playing Portal here on Bind, and now be 9 Iron advancing his way inside. Good for 1, takes down Pika, and 9 Iron look to have an ace in the hole here. It's going to be the plant going down for Modiga, and they have this divide, they have this Viper Spit, they have so many ways of playing for the post plant with the Hunter's Fury as well. So for Regen, this could just be a situation where they just have to risk their life and go for some entry frags, but there's really not much they can do in this situation, especially with that gun disadvantage.
Poison's off.
Serious working their way up shower. Wanting to take their time with it. They know they're not going to find the defuse, but they want to get a frag on the exit. Hello? What? I don't have any words for that one. Serious gets exposed, and Bank has definitely been spotted with the shorty in hand. I don't know what's going on, Bank. No one's coming your way, but they're gonna go perish into the spike explosion. They know they need the credits. Fun fact, you won't get anything if you don't die in a round. So that's going to be another one in favor of Halt the Kings, and they get to just keep building the bank. Just look at what they got in their pocket. They're good for a few more, even if Regen brings it back. So they're feeling very comfortable on their map pick.
But they're still able to get Flaming this operator. That's what matters most for Regen. Having this 6th man here, having this sort of difference maker against Shikabob now, who has the operator of his own to try an entry on with this long range weaponry. It will be Halt the Kings once again using this Owl drone. And now it's going to be the divide as well. And it will be divide and conquer for the Kings here. True to their name, destroying A site, popping the Viper's Pit as well, and Bank is going to be spotted as well with that scout. So much information and intel working for Halt the Kings, as now the plant is already down, and they're just going to play for the post plant using Hunter's Fury. It's going to be a counter for Pika, and the stars are aligning brilliantly for Halt the Kings. It's just going to be a timing game. Bank is going to be good for 1. Here comes the aggression coming out for Regen, working their way inside as Duracell snuffing out any sort of torch Halt the Kings have lit for themselves. It will be Fear Rosen trying to attack this Astra in front. Bank will trade it back. Good for now a 5v2 advantage, all in favor of Regen. As even through all the utility, Regen are unfazed. And they'll get rid of the operator as well, and they'll get their 3rd round and tie things up at 3-3.
This is already a back and forth roller coaster ride. It took a little bit for Fracture to develop into this tension, but right now, right here, we're seeing the streaks being broken and developed, and I'm also looking at 2 operators on the side of Regen. This is a style of defense that I've never seen implemented with this specific team comp. Double initiator, double controller, double operator. It's 2s across the board, Camel, and I'm kind of nervous to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Halt the Kings have put themselves in a situation where they have to deal with this op here. And we'll see if they can do it. There's the first dagger, and the shot misses for Flaming. That's going to be huge. They did do a good bit of damage. Did hit, just didn't hit in the right spot, so it will be a leg shot there for Flaming. It's going to be unfortunate. And they have this TP to work through, and the spike is still behind over towards A main, so this actually might just be a TP play, and they're going to leave the spike behind and have Modiga pick it up. And you see Duracell watching over this flank. Let's see if they do end up taking this TP, or if they look towards B. It's really just going to be about if they want it. They don't want to deal with the operators, so they're going to look to go towards A. Oh, man, in the timing game here, they spot the spike. Duracell's in a great position. There's the pop flash. She will spot Fear Rosen. Great flick around from the Viper. And he takes down Duracell. That's going to be huge now for getting onto the site, but Sirius pops the Viper's pit. And will now mean all the Kings are barred from entry, looking towards main now. We'll move through showers, but Flaming has the operator over here as well. Every entry is just being blocked up for Halt the Kings. They have to make a move. There's the flash. Getting onto the site. Bank will drop down immediately. The op kill will be good for one on non-iron. These things in a 4v3 situation in favor of Halt the Kings. The tornado rampaging through A site. When the spike gets planted down, Cheekbob can't find the shots there onto the op. It will be now a 3v2. Spades making his way inside. It's going to be serious. Good for one. The timing game with Spades. He'll be good for one. Can't find the second. Leaves it at a 3v3 exchange. Spike is still ticking lower and lower. Halt the Kings. Waiting. Here's Modiga. Serious. Racking up these kills over this round. Looking for one more. Leaving it at a 3v3. The spike slowly getting lower and lower. There's the defuse coming out. Where does he spot this player? Does he know it's behind him? There's the pull through. The time buying. It's massive for Halt the Kings. Just waiting Sirius's movements out. There's nothing he can do. And he gets spotted from U-Haul, and Modiga will waltz away out towards the TP. And he's none the wiser. 4-3 in favor of Halt the Kings. What a round.
And what an interesting way to play around that plant as well. Modiga coming through, using the gravity well to buy time, of course, and getting the Nova Pulse on top of it is going to cause panic in Sirius. And I like the way that Sirius sees the plant positioning and has an understanding that usually someone would play in heaven, but Modiga is just one step ahead. It's the reverse psychology that I might have planted in the back of the site, but little do you know, I'm here sitting in the front. And we're back to the standard round default.
Here, I've got your trail.
Back to the default here, back to a save, and a very aggressive push from Pika. Will be able to find one. Spades goes down, and we'll snuff out Halt the King's push for the time being. 9-iron works his way inside, will loft some shock darts in towards Hookah. That'll be it for the exchange for the time being. Fear Rosen from downtown, good for one. On top of Flame with a hot hand for Regen. Shikabab takes down Sirius. And that'll leave B site exposed and wide open. We'll see if they do end up planning. They do. And now a 4v1 for Regen, as it's just going to be Bank making the slow walk of shame back towards B. And he's going to walk right into the barrel of Cheekabab, who spots him. It's going to be an altercation for Cheekabab. He wins out, finds the headshots to find the kill. Great play out of Cheekabab. 5-3 in favor of Halt the Kings.
Score was up. We're building up to the ultimates. Banks got the Cosmic Divide. Fear Rosen up to that Viper's Pit. Flaming doesn't necessarily need it, but the Blade Storm is around the corner. And that might be a second Cosmic Divide on Modiga, who's been popping off on the scoreboard. Astra's controllers, you feel like you're fumbling around with your utility more often than not, and you feel like you're at the beck and call of your teammates. But when an Astra can be so fluid in responding to their own stimuli, now that's a top tier controller player. You know, Modiga's on top of it. Dart bounce?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I mean, no words for that one, I guess, Gamble.
Well, doing his best to try and mimic average Jones. Just a little bit too south. It's all good. He'll fix the lineups. He'll fix them over time. There's a lot more Valorant to be played, so we'll see if he does end up fixing the lineups here as the game progresses. But Fear Rosen will be able to spot that blindly. Good audio cue for Duracell. Try to work around this intel, but the Viper Wall will be summoned. There's the Cloudburst as well. Everything worked away on top of the site, and Duracell is just harassed with ammo and will be dropped instantaneously. Flaming will be good for one. Will be spotted, though, by this dart. This location is real and actually forced to use the dash to reposition and reorient himself. Great position for Cheekabab. Will be good for one. Squares away and finds two. Pika drops. And now it'll be a lone Sirius against the world here. Halt the Kings. Everything in the kitchen sink going their way, and Sirius will work his way out of one. Now they know his location, though, so Halt the Kings just have to play keep away. It's going to be a timing game for Sirius. They know where that snake bite came from. Fear Rosen, though, can't find the shot. Sirius, a great effort. But he can't find Spades, and there'll be a 6-round win for Halt the Kings, doing great on this attacking side.
I mean, Spades there was hanging on by a thread, 25 HP. That could have easily gone either way. Ah, man, the RNG on those. Can't, no spray pattern, just Valorant. Sorry, buddy. Can't crouch down and track like you can in CSGO. Would have gone very differently in a different game. But 50 seconds, timeout. Regen, they've got a lot to talk about. They've lost the map they chose. They're now on Halt the Kings' territory, and they're showing off, streaking these rounds together. You could see those right on the timeline. 3 in a row, broken by a defusal. Sure, Regen manages these retakes, but really Halt the Kings is finding most success in closing out the rounds before the spike even explodes or gets near that point where it's a threat.
Absolutely. And this is a team we know for their aggression, for their likelihood of going for these instantaneous pushes out of sight. But when you're on defense, it makes it so much more difficult, as Flaming doesn't have the money now for this operator. We can't see what we saw in those previous rounds of him going for those aggressive peaks, using that dash to reposition himself in a safer position. So now you get into a situation where it's going to be Flaming, probably going to just be saving here with the ultimate. We'll see if he can find success. He did last time around. He got 1 kill before getting traded out. And they'll go right back over towards B. And we'll leave it at a 3-2 here. Bit of a scattered defense for Regen, but they have a couple of ultimates in their toolkit. Try to respond to some of this Halt the King's aggression. Here comes Flaming, working his way forward, but the daggers do not find their target. Now will be spotted and taken down along with Sirius, leaving it at a 5v3 advantage for Halt the Kings, who will look to use this aggression and work their way onto the site so seamlessly, and it will be covered. The smokes are down, the spike will be down as well, and Regen are going to work their way over. It's the Sova and the Astra against the world, and Halt the Kings are going to be watching every angle imaginable.
Not a lot of options here for the leftovers on Regen. I mean, and with the line of sight being cut off, Chickabob. Oh. All right, next camera angle. Didn't see it, didn't watch it. Don't worry, Chickabob. No one talking about it. Ferozin, who found the first 2 picks, is now going for their 3rd kill. Lucky number, 7 HP, but before even landing the final shot, before even being able to get out, Spades closes out the round. And Regen, okay, Flaming has that operator. You're talking about how it's a signature, and it is finding some consistent value. Sure, maybe the last time it was used, they didn't confirm the frag, but 145 damage. I mean, still a whole lot to be done to an enemy. And so I think it's something that Halt the Kings, even if they've been finding success, need to respect. Not all the same. Double initiators alongside the Astra. I mean, on a map where the operator isn't consistently used and Flaming is not floating it, well, maybe they don't have to fear it as much as we thought.
There's no way they peek this. They know once that operator is online, they will peek this. They've done it every single time. Now it's a confirmation, but Pika already able to find 1 kill over towards Showers. So B could be a target. Spades had a window of opportunity. And Sirius with 29 HP will be forced to back away. Chikabob trades things back over towards A, and the TPs will be used as well. And this divide will sandwich off Bank. It's going to be Spades who walks right into the barrel of Bank, who's good for 1 with that Odin. Here's the chase down for Chikabob on top of the Astra, who's trying to work his way around. And here's Chikabob. The timing game, he has no idea where this player could be. It will drop down. He still has no idea. Oh man, will he look up? Oh, the timing game, not quite there for Bank. There's the barrel spotted for Duracell. Will be good for 1. Works his way on top of 2. Duracell diminishing the Halt of King's attack and leaving it at a 3v1 for Chikabob. We've seen him work the match before, but against the op, against Sirius, and against the Scout as well, it's difficult. He'll be good for 1, but that's all. And Regen will halt the Kings. 4-7. The best they can do here, 5-7. That could be good moving into attack.
I got a question for you, Camel. So Flaming, you know, we know they're hot with the operator, and they're playing Jet, who can fly, and so it could be said that in a sense that Jet has wings. So do you think that they're Flaming hot wings?
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah,
that was a little. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think. Do you think he does?
I mean, I don't know. He's got to qualify for it at some point. Now, if he was Flaming hot wings, I would ask if he was lost in the sauce, but it looks like action's already breaking out. So we'll save the joke for another time. Flaming is going to get traditionally flashed off of the angle. The information is going to go out. But what's weird this time around is Chikabob is going to come right on in and right-click the face of Duracell, and that battery is now drained.
Foiling the plans over towards B. That could mean A is the target. And with the Seekers, it's almost a formality here. There's the Seekers as well, along with the Scout and the Blinding Light, all used towards Showers. Now they know where Pika's location is. The spike is planted. The Poison Orb will be down, drifting over towards the site. There's the rest of the Regen members. They have a Viper Spit of their own. Will they expect Spades on this right side? Wow, I mean, that is just pure intuition there from Pika. Taking out Spades. There's the recon on roll spot. Fear Rosen as well. He's getting barraged with ammo. He's got to be careful. Modiga in a great position here, playing with his smoke. Around the corner is Fear Rosen as well. There's the Poison Orb being used. Modiga, good for one, good for two. Bank trades it back on Fear Rosen. The Viper's down. 3v2 situation for Pika. Stands his ground, will be good for one, but a sliver of HP. He's got to be so careful. The location revealed. The time is not on their side. The defuse is coming in, but huge damage for 9-Iron, and Modiga brings out the Protractor as well with that shock dart kill and leaves things at a 4-8 scoreline.
Despite all the chaos in the end, it was so measured and so calm. You could see how Halt the Kings navigated it together. They were tight with each other. They didn't let, when one was holding, the other was swinging. They didn't let any space go unused, at least the amount of that two players can hold. And now they get to hold all the space that they want as the defenders in essentially this mirror matchup. Now they get to show Regen, who's boss with these 5 agents, and Regen has something to show. They need to bring their A game if they're going to break out of this loop that they've fallen into and try to extend themselves to map 3.
Whole lot of green there for Halt the Kings. So Regen want to make this attacking round their best round yet. They need it in order to bring this one to a game number 3. And the dash will be used to get in towards U-Haul, flaming with this shorty, trying to wait out one of these Halt the Kings members, but the spike hasn't been planted yet, and you see the full rotation from Halt the Kings, so they're going to fully commit towards this recommittal. We'll see if a TP does commit. Still plenty of time for Regen.
Ooh, Spades knows that U-Haul has been taken. And they're not risking the fact that the shorty could or couldn't be there. He's just going to assume that it's a danger to him. Showers being encroached on, and sure, there's 2 people on the A side, but that's not enough. All 5 of Regen are waiting to pounce, but they're taking so long. I think Halt the Kings, now that they've rotated one over, they can feel a little bit more confident in the defense, but Bank cuts them down, and now the first blood has been drawn, and flaming around the corner, the shorty does pop.
4v3 here, and Bank will go for the plant over towards triple. No stars, though, in his toolkit for the time being. 9-Iron will be dissuaded from pushing any further. Chikabob in position over towards Heaven, trying to find some shots. And it will be 9-Iron pushing inside, looking for these shots, stabbing his way forward. But Pika, good for 2, trying to make it a third, is now Chikabob in a 1v3 situation. He's got nothing left to lose. We'll look for the defuse. There's the first recon dart being summoned. And now Chikabob, they're just playing with the scoop at this point. We'll be good for 1, we'll be good for 2. Here we go, Chikabob, the dominoes flying flawlessly for Chikabob, and he gets a 4K with the Sheriff. And he does have enough time just about. He does!
No way!
The clutch for Chikabob with the Sheriff. Oh my word! Aim labs for Halt the Kings Chikabob. Oh my lord, Chikabob. Chika God again, Chika God.
I have no words for the amount of skill that was just displayed in front of me. I'm in shock. I'm in awe. And you said it first, Campbell. AimLab it's free on the Steam Workshop, but I don't know how many times I can grind it. I don't think I could ever reach the level that Chikabob just displayed, ascending to godhood, and then bringing out the Marshall, one-shot body shot across the board. You know that they're just gonna feed the ego even more on this round. They're already good for 2.
You saw what he just did. Why are we peeking into the man? His aim is on fire. Looking for one more. Fear Rosen takes down Sirius and that Marshall. Did so much damage. And now Regen. Pika in a 1v5, walking right into the barrel. Here's the pincer maneuver. Will spot Spades. Will spot Chikabob. Takes down the hot hand. And now Pika is going to have his own Chikabob moment. And he will be good for 2, but that's it. He stuffed out Fear Rosen. Grabs the 10th round for Halt the Kings. And I mean, everyone's just having the Sheriff shots fired today. It's all good. It's all good.
I mean, those 2 hot shots were great, but HTK came rolling on in. The rest of the squad were like, no, we got to maintain Chikabob's honor on the Sheriff. We can't let this go any further. So they shut it down immediately. Now we've made it to the rifle round. Here's round 15. And Regen, if they're going to make a statement, if they're going to make a comeback, it has to start now. It begins all here, and they should know full well that HTK is a threat no matter what. And right now, they're starting off pretty strong.
Wow, very aggressive push here for Regen. Trampling their way on top of A. Oh, they get the plant down as well. Very swiftly here for Regen. Leaving things at a 4v2. So Halt the Kings walking back here. There will be a couple of shock darts flying forward. Good chip damage, but that's about it. Now they know at least where one is. Modiga in altercation there with Flaming. We'll just result in a bit of chip damage on both sides, and Flaming will just keep the shots firing right into Modiga's waiting arms. He will drop down. 9-iron in a 4v1, expecting this flash to come in. Stuck between the rock and a hard place. Will take down Flaming, trying to work his way around Duracell, but he stands his ground. And Regen pick up their 5th round win after Halt the Kings, maybe getting a bit overeager.
I mean, it's like, I want to say that Flaming was trying to feed their ego in that kind of a round, right? I mean, they still have money. They drop a rifle, sure, they get a recover. But again, you in these kinds of competitive environments, you want to do everything as efficiently as possible. And just giving away 2,900, 3,900 credits because there's armor on top of it isn't really the kind of thing you want to do. Now, Chickabob armed with their own operator, and we thought Flamin was doing work. Flamin was doing all right in B long. If there's anyone who's popping off right now, we're saying the name over and over. It's Chickabob, and now they're posted up B main. If there's an area that you need to watch out for, it's anywhere that specific Jet player has their barrel down on.
That's a great Aldron. Forces Chickabob away, though, and now the difficulty of pushing through long is taken out of the equation. So Modiga will continue to stall with these smokes. These stars down. Chickabob perches himself right in front of long, waiting for these players. He knows at least one is over. We'll spot the arm. Will be good for one. Trading it back is 9-iron as well. Pika will take down the Sova, leaving it at a 4v3 exchange. And for Regen, not even having the spike planted yet, they might just have to look for a TP angle.
Now, Regen have all of these angles around them on lockdown. No one's going to push into them without somebody noticing, but they're still so disjointed, right? That someone could fall and that Halt the Kings could end up with the last player on top. This is really what we're looking at, and now Flaming is being very dangerous playing inside of this nebula. Sure, Modiga is revealed, but they're in the crate. They're more than safe. That information is essentially null. The Regen are just desperately firing off the neurons as fast as they can to figure out what to do, and Flaming decides they're going to do what they do best. They're going to dash right in, but an Astra's brain is even bigger than that. It's just going to be 4 kills on the board to close out the round.
Modiga, XEG for a reason, finds 4 kills there and Halt the Kings, stopping Regen in their tracks and really stomping this game in general. 5-11 for themselves now on the defensive side, and Chickabob still with this operator still will be such a nuisance for Regen to deal with, and now he's playing towards A. We'll see if Regen expect this, but they have that Hunter's Fury to turn to for a post plant, but with the economy in shambles like this, it's just not really going to happen unless they find some lucky frags with this aggression from Flaming. We'll see if it does come out, but it's so difficult to work onto one of these sites with the limited economy and limited funds that they have.
Regen has done it before. We saw it in map 1, I think. Was it round 10 or 11? It has occurred, and Regen is more than capable of it, but not when they're giving up information this freely. Of Flaming just running up, and Duracell looks like they want to use some initiator utility. Now's not the time to reveal your positions to the defending side, that's for sure. Now that they've blown their cover, maybe they're just looking for a bait and switch. They're positioned by the teleporter. They have 2 players working up showers. I think they want the space towards A, but Guiding Light is going to get free information, and in the meanwhile, Chickabob blows off Pika from the map.
Oh, he spotted that. Chickabob waiting for this peek. It's a very fast one for Regen. Now Flaming will use these smokes, work his way inside, but it's right in towards Modiga's grasp. He's good for 1. And here's Spades leaking around the corner. Swerving and skirting his way inside for 2 quick kills and stopping this Regen push in its tracks. Leaving things at a 5v1 for Duracell with a Spectre to his name. That's not going to be decent, but he's just running and gunning, spraying and praying, looking for multiple kills. He'll swap out guns. The flash is good, and he'll be able to find Chickabob as well. Great transfer, but the reload for Duracell. It costs some big, major damage for Duracell, but Modiga is able to muffle that, leave it at a 5-12 deficit in favor of Halt the Kings.
Need a drop.
I was harping on ultimates on map 1 because they were so pivotal in switching up the course of the game, but not talking about them as much. And glancing over them, we've watched them develop. Regen has all 5 across the board, and that's not a situation you really want to ever be in competitive Valorant. When you have these ultimate pieces of utility that can change the course of a round, you want to kind of fire them off as fast as possible, with the exception of perhaps, Jett's Blade Storm. And so now Regen is just dumping everything that they have into the site, and I think we're watching Hunter's Furies actually hit their own teammates. Viper's pit on for Rosen, and this is a dangerous position to be in, but the judge is going to save them. Jury and Executioner.
How is Spear Rosen still alive? Cheek him up, but the operator just does not give a damn about these Regen members, even in the Viper's pit. 9 iron, a math professor there. Fear Rosen grabs the other, and they'll leave it at a 13-5. And it's a wasteland on A. What a round. Action. I mean, just aggression, just confidence oozing through their veins. And it's off of the back of Chikabob time after time, making sensational moves. And they ended off there.
Yeah, map 1 taking it through with the chamber. Map 2 coming out on the Jett. They were hot. They felt their aim, and they really showed up and showed out, and it was across a variety of weapons. The Headhunter, the Vandal, the Phantom, the Operator, the Blade Storm. Everything you could possibly imagine they picked up, and we even saw the Judge sprinkled in there with their buddy Sirius, and both Vipers, really. To see such a wide variety of weaponry as well. I mean, these teams they go by any means necessary to pick up the rounds that they have to, but the Kings, they came up just a little bit stronger today, Camel. And before we send it off, I mean, any last words between this series? It was an absolutely amazing one.
Regen could not halt the Kings. It was that simple, and we may have an interview. That's the other thing I want to say. We might have an interview. We'll see if the players are up for it. We have to ask them first, but once we get note of that, we will see if that is a possibility. We obviously have some questions for this team. I mean, definitely going into that one, an exciting matchup, very close game in that first one. It could have went either way, and it looks like maybe just the confidence in Chikabob finding that sheriff. I mean, that sheriff play definitely swung it in their favor. The confidence was just building from that point on, and it just boiled over. So we'll see if we do get that interview, but for the time being, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll see if that does come to fruition. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to the Unified Premier League. We are here with our interview with Chikabob after that very exciting win, giving Halt the Kings that 2-0 series win over Regen. Chikabob, first, congrats. My first question, Fracture, very spicy map choice going into game one. How experienced are you guys as a team on Fracture, and do you expect anything from Regen from their map pick?
Well, we've practiced Fracture maybe 2-3 times before we came into the tournament, so we had a gist of what we wanted to do. We were trying out some comps because obviously you saw me on Jet the second game, but the first game we tried Chamber for me, which suits me pretty well because I don't like that aggressive playstyle on that map anyway. So that worked. And then for the second part of the question, we didn't expect them to play Fracture because the first time around, I believe we picked like Haven and Ascent. So those are the maps that we're expecting to play. But we're down to play every map in the pool. So we come prepared.
Pardon me. So let me go ahead and repeat the question. Chikabob, so to build up on your point that you're saying you're prepared to play any map, what does your practice schedule look like? What are you guys doing on your day-to-day basis? How many hours are you guys spending playing Valorant as a team? Because NA as a region has been criticized for being one that doesn't spend time in the server together.
We practice throughout the week. We probably put in maybe 15 to 20 hours, I would say. We're like on Monday we're like in there for 6 hours. Tuesday we're in there for 4 hours, and then another 6, and then 4, and then another 4, and then we do tournaments on the Sundays, Saturdays, and then these tournaments here and there. So we're out there, even if we're not like practicing as a team. We're playing ranked. We're aim labs. Anything that could help us. We VOD review. So we're trying to get up there.
Yeah, that Sheriff 3K, great sponsorship for AIM Labs, no doubt about that. But how does the fact that everyone can play different roles, you mentioned you swap from the Chamber to the Jet, how does the fact that everyone can play different roles and agents make your life easier or just make the team in general gel better?
Oh, it's really great because we can play literally any comp that we want. Like nothing's limited. We just fit what's best for us and go from there. Like meta comp is something that we like try to like put into ourselves, but like if it doesn't flow, then it doesn't flow. So we just change it up and go on from there.
So then, flexibility-wise, you guys are constantly on the move, is what it sounds like. In that case, have there ever been any comps that you guys have implemented that aren't meta or just seem strange in general, or is it usually just the one-off characters that maybe you guys will plug in that make you, mesh, as you say?
Yeah, it's basically the one character that we just sub in instead is Jet for Rays on like Split and Bind, but everything else is. I mean, we play KO on Ascent, we play Viper on Split as well. So it's nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, Chamber is starting to become meta now, but we'll still run KJ on occasion. No more Cypher though. So
Absolutely. Well, Chikabob, do you have any one want to shout out? We don't want to keep you here too long. Anyone to shout out before we go?
Shout out to everyone that's watching. Shout out to Unified Premier. Thank you guys for having us. And shout out to HTK. Love you, boys.
Well, thank you, Chikabob, and thank you guys for watching the Unified Premier League. That'll do it for us here. Hope the Kings get that 2-0 series win over Regen, and we'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned.